Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff Wilkerson, Professor of Physics at Luther College, bringing you the next in our series of what to look for in the night sky. We're talking about the week of March 25th, 2024 this time around. The moon is full to start the week, and it'll wane away a little bit as the week goes on, but it will wash out a lot of the other things that we want to see. But we've got some interesting things to look at nonetheless. Every week, something interesting to look at. Let's just get the moon out of the way, not the order. I sit here and think about, well, how are we going to talk about these things? And I have a plan, and then I change that plan the instant we start every time. So anyway, let's go ahead and get the moon out of the way. On the evening of the 25th into the morning of the 26th, it is basically full. And it is sitting in Virgo, and it sits in Virgo, bright star Spica and bright star Parima. It sits right between them, closer to Spica than Parima. This is at the base of the Y of Virgo. The sort of martini glass of Virgo that looks like that. Parima sits, this is the base of the glass, Spica, and Parima is the base of the cup part. We see this a lot, it being right on the ecliptic where planets and the moon move. A lot of interesting things go on in this region of the sky. And so the moon starts the week full right there. 4 days later, the evening of the 29th into the morning of the 30th, it's waned away to 3/4 full, and it is now in Scorpius. I think we talked about Scorpius last week, and it's sitting just about 3 degrees from bright star Antares. So there's Antares, and there's the sort of stars that mark the head of Scorpius. Remember, Scorpius got that big sweep of a tail that comes back this direction. So look for the moon to wane away, and by the next day it'll be moved on to the other side of Antares and be down to 2/3 full. So it's waning away as the week goes on, and it rises later and later and later. And as it does that, then, so it starts the week rising right with sunset and being up all night and being big and bright, washing out the sky for the entirety of the night. By the time we get to the end of the week, it's getting later and later and later as it rises, getting closer to midnight or even a little bit later. So you've got the evening to observe before the moon comes up and washes out. Remember last week we had moon washing out what we were doing, and we were saying, well, let's go try to find some things that we can see before the moon gets up. So let's go look at the evening sky. What does the sky look like just as it gets dark? And let's start over here. One of the things that tells us that this is spring, right? We're in the heart of spring right now. One of those things is as it gets dark, there's the Big Dipper climbing high into the sky. And so you've got the bowl of the Big Dipper, the pointer stars pointing over in the direction of the North Star out here. The handle curving back that direction. So if we take the pointer stars, let's try this and say, so let's find the Big Dipper, point over to the North Star, the end star, the handle of the Little Dipper out here. But let's take that distance between the two stars at the top of the bowl right now as it's rising, and move that same distance out again, and then move that same distance up. And we've got a really nice pair of galaxies that are pretty, the surface brightness of these galaxies is pretty high, so they're actually a little bit easier to see than a lot of other galaxies. And you can get them in the same telescope field of view. So if you've got a small telescope, walk out that same distance, walk up that same distance, go over and up, and there's your pair of galaxies, M81 and M82. Can't do this until the end of the week. It's going to be too much moon early in the week. But by the time you get to Wednesday even, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday for sure, this should be dark enough in the evening to be able to try this and see if you can pull it out. If you've got good dark skies, you want to try it with binoculars, go ahead and try it with binoculars. But this is one that works really well with a low power field of view, a low power eyepiece in a telescope, where you can get both of those two galaxies side by side in there. Now, the other thing we want to look at in the evening that will hold up well to the moon is Jupiter. So as it gets to be big and as it gets to be evening, the biggest, brightest thing over there at sunset is Jupiter. And there's Jupiter, and there's a terrible mess of a drawing that I have for just go ahead and look at it for a moment and see if you can try to figure out what the heck is going on. But let's start, and we'll point the stuff out. Here's the other thing. We use this Hagoromo chalk. They don't pay me to advertise for this stuff, but we like it so much that we just don't give up on it. So we try to draw with pieces that are this big. And my drawing skills are bad enough that trying to draw with a piece of chalk that's this big is really hopeless. And it ends up in all kinds of a mess, and everything gets cramped up like this. But we've got Jupiter. Right there is Jupiter. And so that's what we're talking about. The big, bright object that you see over there. Just to the sort of south and west of Jupiter, 1 degree, 1 finger width at arm's length, 1 degree is Sigma Arietis, the Sigma star in Aries. It sits just below there. It's a 5.5 magnitude star. Right on the threshold of what you can see with your naked eye under very dark skies. Binoculars for sure will pull out Sigma Arietis 1 degree below Jupiter right there. And probably I recommend using the binoculars. You got good dark sky and you want to try it, go ahead. Now, if you move on up 4.5 degrees up and north and to the west, you're going to come to Uranus, which is a 5.8 magnitude star. And so it's about the same brightness, a little bit fainter than Sigma Arietis. So if you can see Sigma Arietis, you might be able to take your binoculars and be able to see Uranus up and to the left of Jupiter, north and to the west, and say, okay, it's the star that's up there that's the same brightness. Now, another star that's going to help us get there is to say, there's Sigma, there's Uranus, and Sigma and Jupiter, they're together. Completing the triangle up that direction is Delta Arietis, and Delta is a 4.3 magnitude star, so it's brighter than any of the other stars in this region. So see if you can kind of complete that triangle. Look for a triangle that is Sigma to Uranus, 2 stars about the same brightness, and a brighter star at the point up this direction. Now, some other stars that you might find in the region as you work along there is you've got Jupiter's just really close to Jupiter right now is a 6.3 magnitude star, so you can see that there. But also you've got a couple of 5.3, 5.6 magnitude stars, so stars that are about the same brightness as Sigma and Uranus over here that sort of map the way from Sigma up to Delta. So you go Sigma to this star, to this star, to this star, and that's the brightest star. So you can kind of map this curve that's up this direction with these fainter stars. Now, as the week goes on, what's going to happen is Jupiter's tracking east against the background star, so it's in prograde motion. We've talked about this at other times. Most of the time, planets move east against the background stars, unless we're catching them and passing them, and then they move west. They appear to move west. And so that's what's going on. And Jupiter will move all the way up to by the end of the week. So it starts the week down here by Sigma. By the end of the week, it's up here, and it's close to that thing that was less than, that separation that was less than 1 degree to start the week is over 2 degrees by the end of the week. So Jupiter, that's one thing. Just make sketches. Take pictures, make sketches, do whatever you want to. But Jupiter will double its separation from Sigma Arietis as the week goes on. So it's great to watch that happen. But it's also then going to be up here close to this second 5th magnitude star as we sweep up toward Delta. So by this time, by the end of the week, it will have cut the separation between itself and Uranus down to 3/4 of what it was when the week started. And so by the end of the week, it's going to be up in this direction. It's going to keep moving that direction and close this distance out a little bit. So it's something to keep an eye on in the next few weeks ahead. But that's what we got here, is Jupiter. See if you can see it moving next to Sigma Arietis. See if you can find a triangle up here with Delta or an arc with these other stars, 5.3 magnitude, 5.6 magnitude, up to the brighter Delta up this direction. And then the other vertex of this arc or this wedge or this triangle is going to be Uranus over here. Take a look. Make yourself some sketches. See if you can figure out what's going on. As the week goes on, Jupiter's going to get closer and closer to Uranus. And as the next week and the week after that goes on, it's going to get closer and closer too. So we'll circle back and talk about that again. So this is what we got for you. Late in the week, use the Big Dipper to find the North Star, but then also see if you can find galaxies, M81 and M82. Be sure to check out the moon in Virgo and in Scorpius, making nice pairings with some bright stars that are out there. And then enjoy Jupiter moving away from Sigma Arietis. See if you can find Uranus. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. As always, thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you have a good week ahead.